Any doubt in last session?
Yes, sir. Sir, the assignment which you gave 5 questions in that I have done.
Yes. This one.
No, sir. That theory part. Theory medium, sir.
Slide 110, sir.
Sure.
110. Yes. Okay. So first, I think we have already discussed. There is
Yes,
no
sir.
output. Okay. Second one.
That is also okay, sir.
So what is output?
From 0 to 10, sir.
It is 0 to
10. So won't it be syntax error?
So where is syntax error?
So J value we have not entered. Or there should be a printf statement asking for the taking the info
Yes.
from J.
The value of J is not initialized. If it is not initialized, then what is the default initial value of that J?
0.
0.
0. Okay.
No, it is not 0. It is garbage value.
Sir, but it output starts from 0, no, sir.
No. So actually that is one separate chapter, that is data types and the storage classes. Okay, I will give you that lecture, but until now actually you just remember that if any variable declared inside the function, that variable is having the default initial value as a garbage value. Yes.
Yes, sir. So once you execute and show, sir.
Yes. Sublime text and one.c. Share screen and here. I is equal to percentage D and comma I. So here, if I'm okay, so here if I'm executing this program, your output is 1. Okay, why? Because it is initialized with 1. But suppose what happened if I'm not initialize it? Okay, if it is not initialized, then what is the value? What is this value? You are not initialized. So any unpredictable value actually it is taking, and that is the known as a garbage value. So you can see here when I again rerun, that value get changes. When I again rerun, that value get changes. Again rerun, value get changes. So it means that it is any unpredictable value. Okay, so why? Because I get stored in your stack memory, and your stack memory is your read write memory. Okay, I will explain you all these things. Okay, what is your local variable, what is global variable, what is static variable. Okay, there is one separate chapter for it. But right now, just remember that if you are not initialize the variable inside the function, then that variable is having the value as a garbage value. Okay, but suppose one variable is there which is I have declared outside main. Okay, if I am declared outside main, and if I'm trying to print that value of J, then suppose there is no I is there. Okay, I is not there, only J is there, but J is not a local to main. Local variable means variable is declared inside the function known as a local variable. Now J is a global variable. Why? Because it is declared outside main function. It is known as a global variable. So now can you guess that what is the value? Can you guess it? What is the value of J? It might be, okay, there are two options. First one is it might be garbage, it might be
Garbage.
garbage or 0. Okay, so
Yeah.
just try to run
Oh.
it and you will get output as
It
0.
will print J only, sir.
Yeah, it will print the value of J.
Okay.
J equal to 0. Okay, so remember that if you are declaring the variable outside the main function, outside means it is not, J is not in any function, it is separate from any function, it is a global variable. Okay. So if it is a global variable, then it is default initial value is 0. And if it is local variable, control, suppose this I or simply j, suppose this j is now local variable. Now if the j is local variable, then the default initial value is garbage value. So getting
Yes, sir.
this point? Okay, so what is the output of that program then?
So if we
Is-
execute, getting 0 to 10 only.
Yes, sir. 0 to 10, sir.
No, 0. Why 0 to 10? Because j is equal.
Sir, we
J is a
got
garbage value. J is a garbage value. It can be negative value. It can be positive value. So if it is a positive value, that is the value that is came before for executing. It is suppose 23 lakh something else. So suppose it is 23 lakh value. Then 23 lakh less than or equal to 10. Condition false, and it will directly go outside. But suppose if j value is unpredictable value, that is negative value, then that negative value less than or equal to 10 condition is true. Now j is incremented until your value is less than or equal to 10. So if j is negative, then it is printing the value of j. But if j is positive, which is greater than 10, then there is no output. So what is the output of this program? Unpredictable output. The output is unpredictable. We cannot actually predict the value of j, so we cannot predict the value of, we cannot predict the output of that program. Getting?
So,
Yes,
but if I run that program,
Yes.
I'm getting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
On which compiler actually you have run it?
Online.
Sir, online
Online
compiler.
And have you initialized the value of j there?
No, sir.
Didn't check.
The same program I'm running here. Okay. Okay. Control Z, Control B. You can see here, there is no output.
Sir, but in that we got no, sir, what we should consider?
Hmm?
Which output we should consider, sir? In that we got output from 0 to 10, and here we are not getting which
If
output.
this question asked in any MCQ, so there is one option, unpredictable output.
Okay, sir.
Okay, unpredictable output. We cannot predict the value of j. We cannot predict the output of that program. Okay, there is a logic behind it. J actually, if I am initialized with the 1, then you are getting the answer as 1 to 10. Getting?
Yes, sir.
And if it is not there, then what is the value of j? I don't know. If it is negative, then only you can get their values. But if it is positive, it is always positive, then there is no output there.
Now, since in this compiler it is showing as a garbage value, is it compiler specific, like it dependent from compiler to compiler?
Yeah, we can say that. Suppose whatever your online compiler, if it is showing the output as 1 to 10, then we can make that statement. It is a compiler to compiler specific.
Okay.
So you have to again check it once again. Same program, just copy paste there and try to run it. But I think if they are using GCC, so there is I think there's no problem. The same output that they should show. On Turbo C also actually they're the same output you are getting. Okay. And what about third one?
So continue thing you didn't thought of.
You told you'll be doing it, sir.
Okay.
You-
Fourth.
0, sir.
No, sir.
Zero, it will print zero, sir.
Zero.
X is zero.
Zero, sir.
It is print 0. So x equal to 1. Okay. So 1 equal to 1 condition is true. So if the condition is true, so x value is 0.
Yeah. So it will print
We
zero.
get 0 value. Yes. Only one time. Huh? Only one time 0 will be printed because there is no curly bracket is defined. Okay. If the curly bracket is defined for this here like this, then what is the output?
Zero only, no, sir.
Zero only.
Only 0. Because only one
Second
time
case condition will be false.
second will be false. Okay. And this one, I equal to 10, I equal to 20.
Sir, recurring unpredictable, sir. It will.
I think so. There will be no output.
No output.
Or it is a computer block. So if while I is equal to 20, if you're initializing it again, because I is equal to 20, you're
It will
giving
be
the
a
value
computer
20
box.
twice, then
Will be a
it will
infinite
print.
So how
There'll
many
be
time that computer buff will be print?
infinite loop.
Infinite.
Infinite loop because again condition is not specified.
Yes, correct. So here it is not double equal to, it is single equal to assignment operators. 20 get assigned to I. So the whole result is 20, which is true. So it is always true loop. It is always true loop. So it means that a computer buff will be executed infinite times.
Infinite time.
Okay.
Okay, so next one. What is this? What is the output of this one?
There will be no output, sir.
There is no output. Why?
Because like you had done one program, no, sir. You put if it's a decimal point, you put 1.1f.
Hmm.
So in while loop, it'll take it as double. So we have to specify x is equal to 1.1f.
X is equal to 1.1.
1f.
Yes.
If we put like that, then
Yes.
it's correct thing. But
Okay.
if it's 1.1, there'll be no output.
So it is related to that conversion.
Yeah.
So that integer to float conversion. So if there is if this is not matches, because sometimes when we are converting the float value into your binary, so do you know what is the technique for conversion of binary the float value, that decimal value to binary? How to convert it? Suppose I want to represent the 0.1, only 0.1, 0.1 into the binary. So how to, 1 can be directly, we can write 0001. So that is binary value. But how to represent the 0.1? How to represent 0.1? Do you know that technique? Conversion of decimal, any integer to binary. What is the procedure? We are dividing by 2 and take the remainder. Divide by 2, take the remainder. Divide by 2, take the remainder. That is the technique for conversion of integer to binary. But conversion for that float value to the binary is, first we multiply by 2, and whatever that integer value, that is get back up. If there is 0. Suppose 0.1 into 2. What is 0.1 into 2? 0.2. So first is 0 is taken. So do you know that method?
No, sir.
Huh? No?
No,
In your syllabus, in your first year, I think this should be there. So suppose 0.1 you have to convert into the binary. So how to convert is, first multiply by 2. So what is the result? It is 0.2. So this 0, the first 0 will be written here. Okay. Next one. Now the same thing, 0.2 will be taken for the next conversion. 0.2 into 2, again multiply by 2. So it is 0.4. So here we are writing 0. Then it is again 0.4, again multiply by 2. So it is 0.8. So it is 0. Again 0.8 multiply by 2. So that is equal to, what is it? It is 1.6. So here we are putting 1. Okay, because here 1 we are getting here. Okay, and then next time while calculating, we are not taking a 1.6, we are taking the 0.6 because 1 is already taken here. So again 0.6 multiplied by 2 is equal to, it is 1.2. So we are giving here 1. So again 0.2 multiplied by the 2 is equal to 0.4, and so we are taking 0. And after 0.2, actually we know that because same process will be repeated here. Same process will be repeated. Okay, so how to read it? It's reading from,
Top
so
to
we can
bottom.
have 0.1 is convert, if I'm representing in a binary, then it is 0.00011, then
0.
0, again 3 times 0, 1 1, again 3 times 0, again 1 1, 3 times 0, again 1 1, 3 times 0, 1 1. So it is a never ending process because we will never get 0 there. If we are getting the result as 0.0, now we have to stop. Getting?
So this value we should take from up or from down, sir?
So this value is taking from upper to down, and that integer value we are taking from down to upward.
Okay.
So suppose take the example of conversion of the suppose 15. I want to convert 15 to the binary. So how to convert? So the 2 divided by 15. So if you're dividing 2 divided by 15, so what is the result?
1, 7. 1 will be remaining.
So it is 7, and the remainder is 1 here. Okay. So again, you again divide by 2.
3,
Again divide by
1 will
2.
be remaining.
3, 1.
It is 3
1.
and it is 1. Okay. So again divide by 2.
1 and 1.
1 and
3
1.
divided by 2 is 1 and it is 1, and again 1 divided by, he's not there, it is 0 and remainder is 1. So how to read it? 1 1 1 1. So it is 15 is 1 1 1 1. Getting? So it's read from, it is readed from in this direction, bottom to up in a decimal conversion, but in your floating point conversion it is read from
Top to bottom.
top to bottom. So if this number is 15 point, if this number I want to convert is a 15.1, then its binary equivalent is 1111 dot 0 0 0
0 0 0
1
1
1
1.
0 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 1, like that. Okay, so we're not getting the exact value of the 15.1 here. We're not getting 15.0 exact value. So for comparison, actually, if you are doing for the comparison, if you are going for the comparison for the never ending numbers, then that comparison never gets succeed. That comparison never gets success. You will get output if this is the your number 1.5 1.5, because 1.5 there, if you are multiplying by 2 na, so it will be stopped somewhere else, it will be stopped. But that 1.1 1.2 also not stop, 1.3 is also not stop, 1.4 also not stop, but 1.5 gets stopped. So that conversion has to be stopped. So that is last result should be 0. If you are getting last result as a 0, then conversion gets stopped. So if the conversion gets stopped, you will get a exact comparison here. If you are getting exact comparison, then you are going inside that while loop. If you are going inside that while loop, then whatever it is mentioned, it is get executed. But in case of 1.1, it is not going inside because of that conversion problem, floating point conversion problem, and you will get no output here. You will get a no output. Getting? Because it is not going inside. If it is not going inside, then there is no output. Getting the point?
Yes.
Okay. So should I start the for loop?
Yeah, so 1 second.
Yes.
For the previous question, that 0 to 10, I just executed on GCC compiler.
Yes.
Yeah, for that also I'm getting 0 to 10. So
GCC compiler
yeah,
means
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Yeah, so
Okay, and just try for this program, the first program that I have given here. Only declare one variable, declare the variable and just print that variable here, integer I, and just print I is equal to I. Just try to declare, execute it, percentage D, or I is equal to percentage D, comma I. Now try to execute this program. Now in my case, actually there is a garbage value, and you in your case, what is the value? Tell me.
I is equal to 0.
I equal to 0.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. And which version of GCC you are using?
So
GCC space minus minus version.
uh, 9.30.
Nine.
9.3.0.
Okay. So but actually I'm using 19.5. So what is the problem? I don't know, because the theory say that it should print the garbage value.
Okay.
According to the books, it show the garbage value, and actually in my compiler it will give the correct output.
Okay, sir.
But might be some. Are you using .c?
Yeah, sir.
Program?
.c.
.c. Okay. Okay. So no problem actually. I will find out why there is this GeoProbe GCC shows that output. Okay. So we'll move forward, and your next topic is the for loop. So today we are going to cover the three topics: for loop, break, and the continue. Okay. Okay. So before this, we have seen the two loops, while loop and do while loop. We know that do while loop is an odd loop. Why odd loop? Because it is executed at least one time. If the condition is false at the first time only, but that time also your statement inside your loop will get executed at least once in a do while loop. But while loop will not execute the statement if the condition is false at the first time only. Okay, and it will continue to execute to statement until that condition is true. The for loop is very similar like your while loop. You can compare the while loop and for loop, the same execution. While loop and for loop having the same execution, only some syntax is different. Now what is the syntax different? The syntax is the for loop, in a for loop brackets, actually this 2 semicolon is compulsory. Writing this 2 semicolon is compulsory. Okay, so but while loop doesn't require that 2 semicolon. You can directly put the condition. But why for loop is having 2 semicolon? To separate that initialize part, to separate the test condition, and to separate that update variable part. Now how actually it is get executed, we will see here. So when actually yes, when the for loop gets started, what happened? Your first statement that is being executed from the for loop is the initialization. So this is the initialization. Initialization will be executed only once. Initialization will be executed only once and at the starting only. So this is the first statement that is being executed for the for loop. So any statement you want to execute once and at the start, you have to put it here at the initialization. After initialization, the statement that going to execute is a test condition. So whatever the test condition you are putting here, depending on that, it is decided that the statement inside that for loop will executed or not. If the condition is true, if the condition is true, then only the statement get executed. But if the condition is false, then directly it will go outside the for loop. Directly will go outside the for loop if it is false. If it is false, then directly go outside. So if it is true, so this is my first step, first initialize. Then second one is check the condition, check the condition. Third is if it is true, then execute the statement. What about that update variable? Now after executing the statement, it is going to the update variable. So this is my fourth step. So it will firstly it will go to initialize, test condition, statement, and then update variable. And after the update variable, again it is going towards the checking the condition. So this is my fifth one, fifth step. So after the fifth step, again the condition will be checked. Now if the condition is true, again the step number 3, 4 and 5 will be repeat. If the condition is true, again 3, 4, 5 will be repeat. But if the condition is false, if you are checking the condition, if the condition is false, then this step that is false step will get executed and the loop is break now. So you can say that here my loop is no more executing my statements. Getting this flow of my for loop? Initialize, test condition, statement, update variable, again test condition, again statement, again update variable, test condition, statement, update variable. So this is in a loop. So initialize will be executed only once, but the test condition and update variable will be executed repeatedly. So have you got this concept of for loop? Getting the concept?
Yes, sir.
Everyone getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is actually my flow of my for loop. You can see here. Flow is first initialization, then condition will be checked. If the condition is true, then conditional code get executed. And then after that, increment or decrement variable. If the increment and decrement happen, then after that again it will go to check the condition. If the condition is true, again it will go inside increment, again condition, conditional code, increment. So this will be loop until the condition is true. But if the condition is false, directly it will go outside it and it will not execute the conditional code or not incrementing any value. Getting? So actually it will clear with this flow diagram. Your for loop will be clear with this flow diagram. Very simple. Okay, so just remember that flow. First initialize, condition, statement, increment, condition, statement, increment, condition, statement. So just remember that flow of your for loop. Yes. Now one problem is given here. Program is given. A value is 6, A value is 2. So it is initialization. So what is the value of initial value of A? It is 2. Okay, here a less than 6 means this loop will true until the value of a is less than 6. Okay, so value of a is less than 6, the printf will execute, and if the value is equal to 6 or greater than 6, it will go outside. Okay, so condition is true here because a is 2, it will go inside, value of a is 2 get printed, so 2 is the output. Then after that a is incremented by 1, so a becomes 3, condition is again true, value of a is 3 get printed. Again a is 4, condition is again true, value of a is 4 get printed. A is 5, condition is again true, value of a is 5 get printed. Then a is 6 now. Now here a is 6, 6 less than 6, condition false, it will go outside and your program terminates. So getting and your output is 2, 3, 4, 5 only. So it is initialization, checking condition and updating the variable. So got the output?
So for this, we can't give user input, sir.
Yes, we can give user input instead of putting here that constant value. Suppose this 6, instead of putting a constant value, we can give here one variable n, and you can take the value of that n from the user, enter the value of n, and here you are putting n. So what happened here? 2 to n minus 1, it will get printed. 2 to n minus 1. Yes,
Okay.
if n is 10, then it will print 2 to 9. If n is 20, it will print 2 to 19. Getting?
But for first, you have to initialize that we have to only give a is equal to 2.
Yes, yes, it is very important. This is very important. We have to initialize it.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, every programmer uses the for loop because everything that you need to do or for operation of that variable, count variable, generally it is known as a count variable. So any operation that you are doing with the count operation, it is in a one line only. Okay, so count variable will initialize. Okay, count variable will check, that is condition. The next one is count variable we are incrementing or decrementing. So all the things in a single line. So it is very easy to remember, and by looking at that single line only, we can directly predict how many times this loop will execute. Getting? But in case of while loop, actually, in case of while loop, how to write the while loop here? Can you tell me? The same for loop I want to write within the while loop. So firstly, I have to
A is
initialize.
equal to 2, sir.
Yes, a is equal to 2. Then after that, while
While A is less than 6.
a is less than 6. Okay. Then after that,
Printf.
Is equal
Open
to
the
a plus
bracket.
1.
A is equal to a plus 1.
yes, printf,
Print
and then after that, a is equal to
A plus.
a plus 1.
a is equal to a plus 1. The same thing is doing here. My program is doing the same thing, but all the initialization, condition, and the increment, decrement, it is doing in a single line.
Line.
That is the advantage of using the for loop. Getting? And you are never miss. Suppose in a while loop, actually you forgot to write that a is equal to a plus 1 at the last. Then what happened? Your loop will in a infinite loop. It is not happen in for loop. So I want to design a loop which will execute 10 times. So what is my statement? For a is equal to 1, a less than or equal to 10, and a plus plus. Very simple. In a single line, I can say that my loop will be executed 10 times. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now next one is the nesting of a loop. We can write the loop inside the loop. If you are writing loop inside the loop, that is known as a nested loop. So here, how many times this loop get executes? Suppose there is, okay, so I will share my programming screen. Sharing my program screen. Yes. Sorry. Integer I is equal to 10. And here I'm using WHILE while I less than or equal to 10. and suppose there is one more variable, j is equal to 1, I is also 1 and j is also 1, and I'm putting here for, not for, while j less than or equal to 10, then printf percentage d slash n comma j, and here I'm putting here in a curly bracket g plus plus. Okay, and here I'm putting here j is equal to 1. Here I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, tell me how many times this inner statement get executes. Only first consider this inner loop. First consider only inner loop. Don't go for the outer loop. Only consider the inner loop.
It's
Tell me.
okay, sir, if we don't mention that j is equal to 1 also, it's fine, no, sir?
No. Actually, it will print from 1 to 100 then. 1 to 100. Okay, I will explain it. Okay, tell me how many times this inner loop will execute. Tell me. First.
10, sir.
10 times. Okay.
10
10.
times.
10.
So it will execute total 10 times. So this inner loop will execute 10 times. Okay, 10 times it will execute. How many times this outer loop will execute? Tell me. I start from 1, I less than equal to 10 and I plus
10.
plus. How many
Times.
times? Yeah, the outer loop will
100
execute
100
10
times.
times. So it means that for every value of I, the j is reinitialized to 1, j is reinitialized to 1, j goes from 1 to 10, and it will, when j is equal to 11, it will go outside. So here for every value of I, j goes from 1 to 10. For every value of I, j goes from 1 to 10. So how many there are I values? There are total 10 values. So the outer count multiply by the inner count, that will be the total execution of the printf statement. So total is 100 times this statement will get executed. Okay, so if I'm trying to execute this program, then you will get the output as a 1 to 10, but how many times? So you can see here 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 10 times, 1 to 10, 10 times. And if I'm removing this j equal to 1, if I'm removing the j equal to 1, then output is 1 to 100. Okay. It is only printed 1 to 10. Okay, because 1 to 10. Yes, because j value, when the j value is 11, second times, in a second iteration, j is equal to 11. When j is equal to 11, when j equal to 11, 11 less than or equal to 10, condition will not be satisfied, so this printf will not execute. So first iteration only 10 times, second iteration 0 time, third iteration 0 time, fourth iteration 0 time. Getting? That's why I have initialized the j equal to 1. I have to reinitialize it if I want to execute this printf statement again and again and again and again. Getting? Getting?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, so total how many times? 10 times. 100 times it will be get executed. So you can have the value of j and I here also. I is equal to percentage d and j is equal to percentage d and slash n I comma j. So now you can clearly see the what is the value of I and what is the value of j. First time when I is equal to 1 j1, I equal to 1 j2, I equal to 1 j3. So when I equal to 1 j10, but when j equal to j becomes 11, I is incremented and I becomes 2. But when I is equal to 2, j is again reinitialized to 1. So again for the I equal to 2, j goes from 1 to 10. For I is equal to 3, j goes from 1 to 10. For I equal to 4, j goes from 1 to 10. Getting? So for every value of outer count variable, the inner value will be executed 10 times here. So total execution is 100 times.
Sir, this way you remove j is equal to 1 and show it, sir.
Only 10 times. It will show only the first one. I equal to 1, j equal to 1, I equal to 1, j equal to 10.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because here if this is not executed, printf is not executed, then there is no output. There is no output here. After when I equal to 2, no output. I equal to 3, no output. I equal to 4, no output. Getting? So my question is, now I have modified that program. So tell me, how many times the printf statement get executes?
One time, sir.
I
No,
am
no.
removing this. J is initialized with 1. J initialized with 1.
10, sir.
10 times. Let's try to execute it. First I equal to 1, condition is true, j equal to 1, and now condition is 1 less than or equal to 1 because I is 1. So 1 less than or equal to 1, condition is true.
Condition is
So it
true.
will print 1, 1, 1, 1, and j plus plus, j becomes 2. But here condition becomes false.
So it will come out.
So it will go out. For the first iteration, it will execute one time only. Okay. Now I is equal to 2. Now second iteration, when it will go for the second iteration, j is 1 and I is 2. So 1 less than or equal to 1 less than or equal to 2. Condition is true. It will print 2, 1. Then j plus plus, j becomes 2. 2 less than or equal to 2. Condition is true again. So again it will get executed. So for second iteration, printf will execute 2 times. For third iteration, printf will execute 3 times. For fourth iteration, the printf will execute 4 times. Okay, so you can see here the output. For first iteration, it will execute only 1 time. For second iteration, it will execute 2 times. For when I equal to 2, j goes from 1 to 2. When I is equal to 3, j goes from 1 to 3. When I is equal to 4, j goes from 1 to 3, 4. When I is equal to 5, j goes from 1 to 3, 4, 5. When I is equal to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I is equal to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Getting? So we can also control the execution, how many times that inner statement get inner loop will execute. I can control it with the outer loop also. So that inner loop will be controlled by outer loop. So how many times the inner loop have to be executed? Totally depending on the value of I there.
Sir, you said the number of times the inner loop will be executed into the number of times the outer loop will get executed is equal to total number of executions.
Total number of times.
But in this case, it won't be possible, no?
Yes, that formula won't work here because here dependent loop is there. This is called as a dependent loop.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So because constantly we can't say that this loop will execute. The totally value, I value will decide that how many times this loop will execute. First time it is 10. So I can say that 1 to 10. So here, how many times here? 55 times, I think. I can check
Yes,
the,
sir.
I
Yes.
think C and T is equal to 1. Count variable is 1. And when printf get executed, I am incrementing the value of count. And then after that, I can put here one printf statement, and here count is equal to %t/n and comma cnt. And just I'm commenting that. So I think it is 56 times. It is 56 times. Not 56.
So when can we use that formula?
55 times, yes. Huh?
When is that formula used?
Because if you know that there is a fixed number of the iteration for the inner loop. Now here inner loop will, we definitely say that inner loop will execute 5 times. Okay, Every iteration, inner loop will execute 5 times. Inner loop will execute 5 times. But how many times outer loop? 10 times. So 10 multiplied by the 5. So 50 times. It will execute 50 times. Getting? You can say a count is equal to 50. Yes. If it is 10, then count is equal to 100. 10 multiplied by the 10. And if it is a dependent, then you have to manually calculate. Manually calculation, and I'm getting as a 55 because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus up to plus 10, it will give the count as a 55. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is your nested loop. Now we can produce the nested loop with the help of the while loop or with the help of the for loop also. But generally most of time for loop is used. While loop is now not used for the your nested loop. Okay, because it is very easy now. For I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. So I can clearly say that here the outer loop will execute 10 times. How many times inner loop will execute? Suppose j equal to 1, j less than or equal to 10, j plus plus. So inner loop will execute total 10 times. So here on only one, by using only one line, by see only one line, I can say that how many total execution for that loop. So most of times hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm audible. Actually, my internet connection has been resetted, so that's why there is a problem. Okay, so for every value of I, j goes from 0 to 4, 0 to 4, 0 to 4. Okay, so this yes.
We didn't listen to your explanation of this.
Pardon?
We couldn't hear your explanation for this program.
Okay, so this one.
Yeah, you were there when the connection went.
Okay, so this for loop, just look at this for loop. I equal to 0, I less than 1. So it means that the outer for loop will true only for I equal to 0 and I equal to 1. So it will execute total 2 times. Okay. Now inner loop will execute how many times? J goes from 0 to 4 because less than 5 means 4. So 0 to 4, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 times. So total 5 times. So total execution, if I want to calculate 5 multiplied by the 2, so 10 times. So 10 output is there. And you are printing I and j value. So first time when I equal to 0, j goes from 0 to 4. So you can see here j, I0, j0, I0, j1, I0, j2, I0, j3, I0, j4, like that. Then I increment I1, j0, I1, j1, I1, j2, I1, j3, I1, j4, like that. Got it?
So first inner for loop will be executed, then the outer one, no sir?
It will not executed one by one. It is a inner one, na? So first condition will be checked. Condition is checked. If the condition is true, then only the inner loop will execute.
Okay.
Okay. When condition is true, then only the inner loop will execute. If the condition is false, suppose I equal to 3, it will not go inside, it will directly go outside. But when I is equal to 1, it will go inside, then j is again reinitialized to 0. J again condition will be checked and normal execution of the for loop will be carried out here. Getting?
So complete execution will be carried out and then again it will go and check. I mean
Yeah.
increment.
So here for loop total execution when I equal to 1, this whole loop will execute. When j becomes 6, this loop will break. Okay, when j is 6, this loop will break. Then it will go for I plus plus. Okay. When j becomes 6, this loop will break and it goes from I++, and I++ means I value becomes 3 here, I value become 2. So 2 less than 2, condition false and it will directly go outside. Getting?
So
Okay, now next one is break statement. Now break statement is generally most time used when suppose you don't know that how many time I want to execute that loop. So you don't know 10 time, 50 time, 100 time, I don't know. But you have to stop when a particular condition is satisfied. Okay, when particular condition is satisfied, you have to stop there. Then generally we are doing the break statement. So generally it is known as a manual termination of your loop, manual termination. So I will explain it with one example. Okay, so integer I, for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 100, I plus plus, and simply I'm putting here printf %d/n and comma I. Now how many time this loop executes? Yes, how many time printf get executes?
100 times.
100
times.
Yes, simply
100
100
times.
times. 100 times. Okay, but suppose what we need to do, we want to print it, but when suppose if I equal to 10, when I becomes equal to 10, then I need to break. What happened here? When I equal to 1, then condition is true, that outer condition is true, but here the inner condition is false. When
False.
this false, break is not execute. When break is not execute, printf will execute. So it will print 1, then it will print 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 also printed. But when I becomes 10, condition is true here. When condition is true, break
will
get
break.
execute. And what doing by break? Breaking the loop. You are breaking the sequence of loop. So it means that the loop will not further executed. It will directly go outside the loop. It will directly go outside the loop. What is the next statement after the loop? It get executed. So from break actually you are directly going outside when the break get executed. That's why the break is always come with the condition. If the condition is satisfied, then only the break get executed. If the condition is not satisfied, break is not executed. Getting? So by looking at the first line only, you can say that here my loop will definitely execute 100 times. You can say here my loop will execute 100 times. But if you are not looking inside, then you cannot determine the exact output. The exact output you can determine only by seeing the inner statement of your for loop. Inner statement will say that when I is 10, break the loop. When I is 10, break the loop. So this loop will only executed for the
9.
values for 1 to 9 only.
9.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So
So if I'm trying to run this program, you will get a 1 to 9 only. Yes, up to 1 to 9 you will get output 1 to 9 only. Getting? So don't go for hurry here when there is a problem of loop. Try to execute manually. And suppose if this type of question is there, then what is the output?
Print 1. 1 to 100, I guess. Yeah, 1 to 100.
100.
No.
Sir, it's 10
Only
to
for 10 it won't.
10 to 100, sir.
I don't want guesses. If you are guessing for C program, then you definitely fail to answer.
Sir, 10 to
No,
So
no.
10
1
to
to 9,
100.
1 to
No,
9 will print and 10 won't print and the rest will print.
no guesses.
No, 10 to 11 to 100.
No guesses. These are the
11 to
guesses.
100, sir.
All guesses. I don't want guesses. I equal to 1, condition is true, it will go inside. When it is go inside, I is assigned to 10. When I is assigned to 10, value of I becomes 10. So it is true, it becomes true. When it is true, break get execute and directly it will go outside. First time only it will directly go outside. So printf will not execute.
Not even once. Yeah,
Huh?
not
So
even
output
once.
is no output.
No output. Okay.
The output is no output. So it is a warning and there is no output there. Only warning is there. But output is no output. Yes? So getting this?
Yes, sir.
So 1 to 9 only. Okay. And okay. Okay. Now the next statement that we need to study here, that is the your continue statement. Okay. So break flow diagram is given here. Conditional code, if the break get executed, then directly it will go outside. Break is known as your abnormal termination of your loop. Abnormal termination, if you want to do abnormal termination by giving some condition. Suppose you have designed one program or software in which suppose you want to exit your program anytime within the lifespan of your software. Then you can put there one icon, that is cross icon, red again cross icon, and when somebody click that icon, your program is terminated. Getting? If somebody click on that icon, program will. So if the icon is click, break. If the icon is not click, continue. That is your logic. Okay, so this is my one program here. A equal to 10, a less than 20, yeah, a plus plus. But when a is greater than 40, when a is greater than 14, break. So it will only execute from 10 to 14 only. Value of a is 10 to 14 only. But the next statement is a totally opposite of the continue statement. Now the continue statement means the language works somewhat like a break statement. Instead of forcing termination, continue forces the next iteration of the loop takes place, skipping any code in between. So it means that whenever you are executing continue, whatever the next statement that you have written after continue, it will not execute. But loop is also not terminate, but the next iteration is started. So you can say that your next iteration of the loop gets started. Whatever the statement after the continue will not be execute. We can see here one flow diagram here. If conditional code, if the continue execute, directly it will go for the condition. The sum statement, one example actually I need to explain here. Now you can hear n equal to 2. Okay, now value of n is 2. So condition is true. N less than equal to 9, condition is true. Then it will check. If n equal to 4, no, but n is 2, so the condition is false. So continue will not execute. So if the continue will not execute, printf will definitely execute. So 2 get printed. The n is 3. Condition is again false here. Inner condition is false. Continue will not execute. So printf get execute. Either continue execute, either printf get execute. Because when there is a continue get execution, no further execution is allowed to execute here. Directly you are going from continue to next iteration. Directly you are going from that, when the continue get executed, it will directly go here. But when the continue is not executed, the printf will definitely execute. So next iteration n is 4. When n is 4, condition is true. When condition is true, condition continue will execute and directly it will go to execute. So printf will not execute. So you can see here in output actually 4 is missing. 4 is missing here. 2, 3 get printed, but 4 is not printed, because when there is n is equal to 5, that further statement get not executed. For 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all statement get executed. So getting, so if you
Sir,
want to,
if break is there, then output will be 2 and 3.
when break is there, when n
Only 2
becomes
and 3.
4, yeah,
Only
when,
2 and 3.
yes, when break is there, when if condition n equal to 4, break execute, it will terminate the loop, but continue will not terminate the loop. Remember here, continue will not terminate the loop. It will skip the statements. It will skip that further statements. Getting the difference?
Yes, sir.
Difference between that continue and break. Now next statement is, yes.
Sir, if you want to use continue, there should be nested loop for sure, no, sir.
Nested means if should be there. If you want to use continue, that continue should be associated with the one of the if statement. If this if is not there, then what happen? Tell me. Printf never be execute.
Yes, sir.
Because every time continue execute, directly it will go next iteration. Continue execute, go next iteration. Getting? So for every continue, there is the if statement. For every break, there should be one if statement associated.
Okay, sir.
Next one is goto. Actually, goto is a deprecated command. We are never using this command in our program, but for aptitude, actually, generally we need. Goto statement is known as a unconditional jump. Unconditional jump. Your GCC doesn't support goto, but unconditional jump means, suppose if there is one condition, and to that condition, if you want to jump it without any condition, if there is one statement and you have given the name to that statement and you want to directly jump to that statement without checking any condition, then we can use go to there. The example, I think it is given. Yes, it is given. Now here it is go to label 1, and where is label 1? Here it is a label 1 is given. So it means that if a equal to 15, a is equal to a plus 1, and directly go to label. So it is label, directly it will go here. Getting? So from this point, directly it will go here. From when the goto will execute, your program control passes to that label. Generally, that goto will be morely used in your assembly language programming. Have you used the assembly language programming of 8051? There is a statement name as SJMP and LJMP. Long jump, short jump, absolute jump, and there is a label associated with that jump. And when the JMP statement get executed, you are directly going to that statement. Yes, but here in GCC actually it is a deprecated. We are not using at all this go to statement. But remember, only the one thing is that go to is the unconditional jump. Getting? Next topic that we want to discuss is an infinite loop. Now infinite loop means if you want to execute some statement infinite time, we don't have to stop it. So we can achieve it by writing your while loop, while 1. Just put your while 1, and now whatever the statement inside it, it is get executed, because 1 is the condition which never changes. 1 is true. 1 is a non-zero value. A non-zero value is always true. So that's why this while loop is a infinite loop. If you are not putting here 1, then what happened? Tell me. If you are not putting 1.
Error, sir.
Yes, there is a syntax error. There is a syntax error. While loop requires the condition. While loop requires the condition, and that condition we are giving as always true condition. Now here, but It is just opposite to the for while loop. For loop doesn't require condition. We don't have to write there one there, just only 2 semicolon. If you are putting only 2 semicolon in a for loop bracket, then it is an infinite loop. Getting?
So could you repeat?
Yes, sir.
For
Could you
loop
repeat? I couldn't
for
hear.
yes. For loop,
Yeah.
if you want to develop a infinite loop, if you want to write the infinite loop using the for loop, no need to give here condition. Only 2 semicolon, just give 2 semicolon and you will have that infinite for loop. Okay, but in a while loop, the condition is compulsory here. Giving the condition is compulsory. Giving condition, so and that condition should be always true. So what is always true? You can put 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, any non-zero value you can put it here. So instead of 1, you can put here 100 also. It doesn't mean that this loop will execute 100 times. 100 is a non-zero value. Non-zero value is a true value. Getting?
Okay, sir.
Sir, only to run infinite times, condition is not required for loop.
For loop, yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay. And for do while also require the condition. We can put the do while as a do, and in a while we can put the one there. Using do while loop, generally we can use the infinite loop also. Okay, now this program, just try this program. Sorry.
For x is equal to 4, y is equal to 0. X is greater than or equal to 0, x minus 1.
You write the value of x and y. First value of x is 4, y is 0. Okay, now condition is true. 4 greater than equal to 0, condition is true. It will go inside x minus minus. X value becomes 3. Y value becomes 1. Now here, if x equal to y, no, condition is not there. So it will execute else part. So what is the first printf? It is, I think, 3, 1.
Yeah, 3, 1.
3,
Yeah,
1.
sir. 3, 1.
Next
3, 1.
time,
Next it will become 2 and
2.
No, next
2
it will
and
be
2.
no,
Two-
it's continuous, so it'll go for the next.
Yes, it will x is 2, y is 2. So a continue will execute and it will go for the next iteration. Printf will not execute. So only answer is 3, 1. Next time, 3,
1, 3.
2 becomes 1. X become 1 and y becomes, I think, 3.
1,
1,
3.
3. Yes, 1, 3 will be get printed. Then again 1 is greater than or equal to 0, condition is true, it will go inside. 1 becomes 0. X
0.
becomes 0. X minus minus, na, x
Y
becomes 0.
becomes 4.
Y
0,
becomes
4.
0, 4. Yes, 0, 4.
0, 4.
So 0, 4 will be printed and condition is still true, huh? Because 0 greater than or
0
equal to
greater.
0, condition is still true. So it is
0,
minus
5.
1 and 5.
5.
0 minus 1 is minus 1. Minus 1 and 5. And the answer is minus 1, 5. Last answer is minus 1, 5. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can test this with our compiler. Control P. Okay, so it is 3, 1, 1, 3, 0, 4 and the minus 1, 5.
Minus
Correct
1, 5.
answer. Correct answer. Yes. Okay. Now remaining, I think you should try by first yourself, and then if you are not getting the answer, then I will explain you. First try by yourself. Try
Okay, sir.
by yourself. Okay. So I think that 7, it's 6, 5, 6, 7, and this is 8. 5, 6, 7, this is 8. This is 9, and this one is 10. Okay, and now try for this program. The very first program, write a program to find out the factorial value of any number. Now, can I tell you the logic, or you are finding the logic by yourself? Have to write the factorial.
Tell, sir.
Yes. Factorial of 5, I can calculate 5 factorial, suppose. The user has given the number as a 5. So what is 5 factorial? 5 factorial can be calculated as a 1 multiplied by the 2 multiplied by the
Multiplied
3
up till 5.
or multiplied by 5. Okay. So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I get it using for loop? For I equal
Yes.
to 1, I less than or equal to 5,
Yes.
I plus plus. And what you need to do here? Multiplication. That is known as a repetitive multiplication you want to do. So the first one is, so there is one variable, fact variable is there. You initialize with the 1. Okay. Then what you are doing? So fact is equal to fact multiply by the 1.
I plus.
1 first iteration. Second iteration, fact multiply by the 2, second iteration. Third iteration, because that I value get incremented here, so fact multiply by the 3. Okay, fact is equal to fact multiply by the 4, and the last statement is fact is equal to fact multiply by the 5. So whatever the new updated value of fact, you are storing into that fact variable itself. Getting? So here fact is equal to 1 multiplied by the 1 is 1. So it is 1 multiplied by the 2 is 2. Now fact becomes 2. Next time 2 multiplied by the 3, fact becomes 6. 3 multiplied by the 6 multiplied by the 4, fact become 24. And 24 multiplied by the 5, fact becomes 120. Okay. So you can have this program like this: for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to
5.
I less than or equal
25.
to n. N you are getting from the user. Okay, and I plus plus, and then inside fact is equal to fact multiply by the I. Simple. Okay, so when you get out of this loop, then you will have the factorial of that value and just print it, that factorial value. Okay, so it is known as a repetitive multiplication, cumulative multiplication. Cumulative multiplication. Yes, the same program actually there, very similar to the factorial, that is summation of n. Summation of n. Suppose that summation means that symbol, this one, summation of n. I is equal to 1 to n. Okay, I start from 1 to n. So that is summation. So you want to get the summation of first n numbers. So how to get the first n number summation? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus up to n. Okay, so if you want to have the first 10 number summation, that is answer is 55, we already know. So if you want that 55 answer, so what you should know here, what you should do here, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus, so instead of that multiplication there should be plus only, and only that variable I'm initializing as a sum, and that I'm initializing with the 0,
1.
because first time not 1, because 0 plus 1, first operation should be 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 7, like that. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that is all at the aptitude questions. Actually, most of the C programs are from the aptitude. The next one is, yes, this also you have to try. First try yourself. One number raised to the power of another. So suppose if you are giving the number as a 2 and 4, 2 and 4, so 2 raised to 4 should be your output. 2 raised to 4 is, how to get 2 raised to 4? 2 multiply by the 2 multiply by the 2 multiply by the 2. How many times? 4 times
4
multiply.
times.
So 4 time loop will be there, but that inner statement of the for loop will get changes there. So you're not printing with multiply with the I, you multiply with the N only. Just try to again this one, write a program to print all ASCII values. So generally when you are putting the ASCII value, you are defining the character variable, and the character variable can contains the maximum up to only 127. But here you want the values from 0 to 255. So what you need to do?
Unsigned character.
Yes, do the unsigned character. Okay, so do the unsigned character. Just define that variable, character variable as an unsigned character, and just for that character variable is equal to 0, character variable less than or equal to 255, and character variable plus plus, and just print that character variable, print %C and that character variable. The next one is, yes, again this is from logical program. So write a program, enter till the user wants, and at the end it should display the count of positive, negative and the zeros. Okay, suppose the user wants to enter the 10 numbers, so you have to execute that scanf statement 10 times. Okay, 10 times the scanf statement get executed, and you are giving the 10 numbers there. Okay, 10 inputs you are giving. Now out of the 10 inputs, how many numbers are positive, how many numbers are negative, how many numbers are zeros, that you have to count. Okay, again try for the prime number. You know what is prime number? The prime number which is only divisible by
1 and itself.
1 and itself. So its corollary is, it is not divisible by 2 to n minus 1. 2 to that number minus 1. It is not divisible. So we are not checking for divisible test here. We are checking for the non-divisible test. Okay. So if it is divisible by 2, then it is not prime number. If it is not divisible by 2, and if it is divisible by 3, again it is not prime number. If it is not divisible by 2, neither 3, then check for the 4. If it is again not divisible by 4, check for 5. Not divisible by 5, check for 6, 7, 8 up to n minus 1. Okay, so just try it. How many? First try for the checking the single number as a prime number or not, and then after that modify the same program to print for 1 to 300. Next one is write the program to okay, this is very simple. Generate all combination of 1, 2, 3. So I think we have done that program for I equal to 0, I equal to 1, I less than 10, I plus plus. Inside that inner loop, for j equal to 1, j less than 10, j plus plus. Again one more loop you have to do. For k equal to 1, k less than, now here only 3 is there, 1, 2, 3. So all that counter variable go start from 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 inner loops. First for loop, inside that for loop one more for loop, and inside that inner for loop again one more inner for loop, and in that inner for loop there is a printf statement. So how many combination? Total combination is 3. Total how many combinations of 1, 2, 3? Do you know that permutation and combination have you studied in mathematics? So if three numbers are there, what are the maximum combinations of the three number? Combination of three.
Six.
9. It is 9. Total 9 combinations are there. Just try it. 1 1 1, 1 1 2, 1 1 3, then 1 2 1, 1 2 2, 1 2 3, then 2 1 2, 1 1 1 1 झालं, 1 2 झालं, 1 3 1, then 1 3 2, then 1 3 3. This is the one. So total 9. The first is 3 3 3 9. Then after that again 9. So total I think 9 multiplied by the 9 plus 9 plus 9. So 27. Total 27 combination you are getting. Total 27.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Then
sir.
again write a program to produce the following output. Yes, try to get the output 1 2 3. Ekdam simple hai. Here that technique that I have used, the inner for loop is depends on outer for loop. That technique you have to use it here. So on first line only 1 printf, on second line 2 printf, on third line 3 printf, on fourth line 4 printf. So that outer for loop will decided how many times that inner printf will get executes. Okay, so just try for it. And then okay, so these are some MCQs. Okay, so tomorrow we will see the more practice on the loops. That this one, write a program to take the output, different outputs, and then if you have any doubts in this program also you can take. Then a day after tomorrow we'll start with the new topic functions. Okay, so here when the loop, actually when there is a loop completed, your basics of C language get completes. Basics of C language. Actually your C language start from this topic, C functions. C language start from C function. But if you want to expert in any other language, up to this point you should know all the each and everything, because all these statements that you have taken, decision control, loop control, all the statements are available in other languages also. Okay, so I will stop the recording.